I'm Natalia Bonner. Welcome to 9 Patchalong block number 3. Today we're machine quilting with machine quilting rulers, my mini machine quilting rulers. So grab your rulers, hop over to your machine, and let's get stitching. 9 patch number 3. This fun block is a fun way to use the spinning square design. I love the look of stitch in the ditch, so I'm going to start out my block by stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside. You can see on my ruler, I am using our Piece and Quilt Pop Socket Ruler Grip. I love using this on the back of my ruler. It's a great way just to give you something extra to hold on to grip while you're quilting. Before you start this block though, make sure you do understand and know the basics of machine quilting with rulers. It is different. These are not rotary rulers. You do not want to use your rotary rulers to try to stitch out any machine quilting with rulers. You'll also want to make sure that you do have a ruler foot. And if you're working on a long arm, you need to have an extended base plate on your machine. On a domestic or a sit-down machine, you need a nice, large, flat surface to work on. After I've completed the stitch in the ditch all the way around the outside of that block, I'm also going to stitch in the ditch between each of my blocks. Now, this is a panel that I am quilting on, so I definitely want to stitch in between each of those pieces. I feel like it really helps to bring those to life. If you don't love stitch in the ditch and you're working on a piece quilt, you don't have to stitch in the ditch. There are no rules. Now I'm working on a Gamma 22-inch machine. Because I'm working on a long arm machine, I'm most comfortable stitching from left to right. So I'm going to travel back over to that top left block and start stitching in that block. You can start stitching in any block that you choose. If you're working on a sit-down machine or a domestic, you may want to start in the center and work out from there. To stitch out this design, I'll begin stitching in any corner. I'm going to hold my machine quilting ruler so the first marked line on that ruler intersects the opposite corner, so at the next side of my block. From there, I'll stitch a straight line right down to that point. When I get to that point, I'll stop, adjust my ruler, and repeat this process stitching across to the next side of the block. Now, when I get back to where I started, this time I'm just going to stitch to my thread. So my thread is now going to be the point where I'm lining up my ruler. I'm acting as if that corner that I'm creating with my thread is the corner of my block and lining the first marked line up so that it intersects that little corner, my thread corner that I've created. I'll repeat this process, swirling, spinning right into the center of that block. Once I get right into the center, I'm going to create kind of like a little triangle. I'll actually take a couple of stitches there, back and forth, as my tie-off stitches. With this design, you could technically stitch right back out on your previous stitch lines and move on to the next block. I don't love a lot of stops and starts, but I do feel like this is the type of design where I do want to actually stop, cut my threads, and then start on the next block. So each of my 9 patches, each of those pieces on my 9 patch, I will treat as an individual block. So once I have one completed, I'll stop, cut my threads, and move on to the second one where we'll repeat that process again. So very important here is how you're lining up your machine quilting ruler. Now the next thing to notice when I'm stitching out this design, I will go in the same order. So I'm always starting at that upper left corner and stitching from there. If you stitch from the upper left corner across to the right side, you're still going to end up with this swirling motion, but your design will actually be a mirror of the first block versus the exact same as the first block, like I'm stitching here. So on block number 2, I'll repeat that process. Make sure that I hold my mini machine quilting ruler so that first marked line intersects my corner that I've created either with my block or with my thread, and continue stitching point to point. When machine quilting with rulers, anytime I want a sharp point, I actually stop my machine, make sure that it takes a couple of stitches. If you even need to stop with your needle in the down position, then adjust your ruler and continue stitching on from there. Sometimes that will help you have a nicer, more crisp corner. I'm going to repeat this process, moving all the way across my block on those top 3 blocks. Then I'll move down to the second row and repeat the same process on the second and third rows. hope you all found just a bit of inspiration from this fun video. I love this vlog. I love the look and the illusion that it creates. Yes, it's very time consuming, but it's so cool once it's all quilted out. I love it. I can't wait for tomorrow for block number 4.